Bird Gang, they did it. They actually saw the competent move and then did said competent move. Go figure. Welcome back to Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law, and I watch Cardinals games, so you don't have to. Although the season's over, so I guess we had to wait till next season for that one. Thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. If you're already part of the squad, I appreciate you for riding with us since day one. And if you're new here, smash the sub button. It really helps out the channel, and the more we grow, the better content we can bring you guys every single day. Again, shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Bird Gang. Woo, Bird Gang. It is a good day. It is an amazing, amazing day. The Jonathan Gannon era is officially over in Arizona. On Monday, the Arizona Cardinals fired Gannon after another losing season and fourth straight year without a playoff appearance. Obviously, 3 of those under Gannon. Move first reported by NFL insider extraordinaire Adam Schefter out of ESPN. Ending a tenure that never quite found stable footing is kind of the sum up of what Jonathan Gannon did here in Arizona. Right? He finished his time here with a 15-36 record as head coach, overseeing 3 of the franchise's 4 consecutive losing seasons. While the Cardinals are moving on from Gannon, we are retaining general manager Monty Ossenfort, signaling that ownership still believes in the long-term roster building plan that Monty brings, even if coaching leadership didn't work. And now, guys, we're resetting this rebuild once again. How did we get here? Jonathan Gannon took over in 2023, and he inherited a team coming off a 4-13 season under Cliff Kingsbury. Expectations were modest at best, right? The Cardinals repeated the same 4-13 record in the first year, but we had patience with it because we understood, right? The roster needs time, the coaches need time to install their offense, their defense, and all that. And then came 2024. We jumped to 8-9, showed real actual progress. The defense looked improved, young players emerged, and for the first time in years, we looked competitive. That season created real optimism heading into this 2025 season. This was supposed to be the step year. That third year is almost always the year where you're like, hey, all right, here's the result. The roster looked promising. Trey McBride, Buda Baker, Kyler Murray, Walter Nolan III, Will Johnson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Josh Sweat coming here, Dalvin Tomlinson, all these guys. And on paper, we look like a team ready to contend for a wild card spot. And instead, everything unraveled, and it unraveled quickly and in the most painful way possible. The biggest blows came early. Kyler Murray played just 5 games, sidelined with a lingering foot injury, and with Kyler unavailable, the offense never really reached its peak. And on top of that, losing James Conner early as well. Now I understand, Jacoby Brissett brought some stability, sure, and still never really found the offense. Still never really found its rhythm. So now where are we at? Kyler's future is, with the organization, it's already a topic of a debate, and now it's in the target zone. It's in question. It's the main thing right now. Injuries alone don't explain what happened this season. The Cardinals were terrible in close games. That's not roster based, right? In the NFL, that's coaching. That's clock management. That's fourth down decisions. That's situational awareness and adjustments under pressure. None of those that Gannon did well this season. We repeatedly came up short in those moments, and the margins in the NFL are already razor thin. And had just a few of those games swung the other way, the conversation around Gannon very likely is completely different. Probably have a little more patience with him. Unfortunately for him, it didn't. And ultimately, unfortunately for us as well. And that's where the responsibility lands on the head coach. Players like McBride, like Baker, like Sweat delivered, right? Effort was often seen there, was there. The execution when it mattered the most, absolutely, positively, was not there. This movie wasn't just about wins and losses, people. It's about what is the trajectory of this team? What are we trying to do? Are we trying to stay just even Steven here and do nothing, right? And just hope we don't dip? Or are we hoping to the trajectory is up? Because that's the whole point, is to win. After 3 seasons, ownership had to ask multiple questions. Is the team, clearly trending upward? The answer was a resounding hell no, it's not. Right? A promising 2024 gave way to a disappointing 2025. Instead of building momentum, we stalled. Installing in this league is I guess fatal for your job, for coaches' jobs, for roster spots, and ultimately for the team. So the axe falls on Gannon, deservedly so. Not because he didn't try. Not because he didn't connect with players, although a lot of it was cringy as hell, that you have fire in your belly garbage that he used to say, but because the results never really matched to the opportunity, right? Now, our head coaching vacancy is going to be one of the most fascinating on the market. Early names already circulating include former Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, who just got fired, but keep in mind, this guy's a multiple-time Coach of the Year winner. Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady's also there. Who's Brian Flores, who I want to see be legitimately considered for this team and give him a chance to draft a quarterback either this season or next season. But there's also buzz around our old pal Cliff Kingsbury, who's the Washington Commanders OC. Although a reunion in Arizona is incredibly unlikely given how his stint ended here. It was not the best way to end it. So It's an intriguing job, but it's not without risk, right? There's talent on the roster, no question, but the quarterback situation is unresolved, and top coaching candidates, that they're going to care about that. Some may view other openings as safer bets with clearer long-term answers at the quarterback position, and that's what we need to look at, what this means for Kyler Murray, because that's the biggest question of all. What does Gannon's exit mean for Kyler Murray? I am going to go deeper into this here in a couple minutes, but there are two very real possibilities. One, Murray gets a fresh start, a new head coach, a new system, and a clean slate that allows him to prove he's still the franchise quarterback in Arizona. Hard to do, 8 years in is going to be next season, but still doable. Two, the Cardinals hand the next coach the keys, including the choice to draft or acquire a new quarterback that they want, and full reset at the position. Both paths are on the table. Both are possible. And that decision will likely define not just the next head coach's tenure, but the next era of Cardinals football. As far as Gannon goes, this probably isn't the end of his NFL career. I think I made the argument early on. Had he stayed here and had another crappy season, that's the end of his NFL career for sure. Go off to college, my guy. But the fact that it ended now, and there was some positives to what he brings, culture changing and all that, other teams will definitely look at him, right? Before he came here, he was a defensive coordinator with the Eagles, which they were happy to let him go. They didn't even have to fire him. We hired him away from them. So that was, is what it is. But he was the Eagles DC, holding that role from 21 to 22, and it wouldn't be, surprising to see him land quickly with the team in need of defensive leadership. Look, sometimes great coordinators don't translate as head coaches. We've seen that over and over and over and over again. It's the reason Eric Bieniemy is not a head coach anywhere, right? But doesn't erase their value. Those guys are still valuable. Guys, the Jonathan Gannon era is over in Arizona, and it didn't collapse in spectacular fashion. It faded. It was a very slow, painful, it's like bleeding out, right? Eventually, he just ran out of time. Now we have to look. We set another crossroads. We're on with talent. We got, we're on with talent, with questions and opportunity to redefine ourselves once again. Who are we going to hire? What do we do at quarterback? How bold are we willing to be? Because the future is now. And after 4 straight seasons without playoff football, 4 straight seasons of miserable losing seasons, the margin for error, not just in the NFL, but with the fans, gone. Is over. You cannot fail. You got to make it happen. You got to make it happen now. So, what do we do with Kyler, right? For most of Arizona Cardinals history with Kyler Murray, one thing has always been clear. When asked, leadership has backed him. That's no longer the case. Following the firing of Gannon, Cardinals general manager Monty Ossenfort and owner Michael Baywell met with the media on Monday, and for the first time ever, they didn't sound committed to Kyler Murray as they questioned, or as the unquestioned franchise quarterback, right? We're entering this offseason without answers, and at quarterback, it's a huge deal. So, finishing a 3-14 season, Monty made it clear, nothing, including quarterback, is off the table. He said, quote, all options are on the table, whether it's quarterback or any other position. We're going to investigate all those to improve the team, end quote. That's cause for pause here, right? And pauses at quarterback usually mean one thing. Either evaluation's underway, or you already know what you're going to do. You're just not letting everybody know. And again, with a number 3 pick overall in the draft, it's very much cards on the chest, or cards close to the best, or whatever. He's not going to tell anybody anything, right? Monty emphasized that the organization is not specifically looking for an offensive-minded coach to build around Murray, or anyone else for that matter. Instead, he said the Cardinals are going to search for the best head coach and the best fit. That may sound reasonable on the surface, but you got to think about it here, because when teams are fully considering a quarterback as their long-term answer, they say it out loud. They just say it. Right? They shape hires around him. They frame their offseason around maximizing that asset specifically, and Monty didn't do that. He left the door wide open. Murray's contract makes the decision unavoidable. He's under contract for 2 more seasons with a club option for 2028. But the money is the key point here. He's owed $36.8 million guaranteed next season, and another $19.5 million becomes guaranteed if he's on the roster on the 5th day of the league, which is in March, or 5th day of the league year, which is in March. So that gives us a very real clock. We're on the clock. We got to get this done. They can't kick the can down the road forever, and they have to decide whether Kyler's part of the future or not. Just an expensive past, right? This past season did nothing to provide clarity when it comes to Kyler Murray, right? His year ended effectively after a humiliating Week 5 loss to the Tennessee Titans, where he suffered a foot injury, which was on a really, really embarrassing play where the ball got snapped, hit him in the face, and somehow he hurt his foot doing that. I don't know how that happened, but either way. What followed that foot injury was odd, right? Because he missed 2 games with questionable injury designations. Then ahead of the Week 8 matchup in the Dallas Cowboys, Gannon said Murray would not start but could still have a role on game day. He never even dressed out, right? He didn't play. Jacoby Brissett was named the starter moving forward, and Murray was placed on injured reserve, where he stayed for the rest of the season. That sequence alone sparks speculation that Murray's tenure here is nearing its end. In fact, anything, it kind of stamped it, right? And nothing since has put those rumors to rest. Jacoby put up better individual statistics in Petzing's offense than Murray did, 100%, but wins, not at all. Brissett followed 1-11 as a starter, which is important to think about because this isn't about declaring one quarterback better than the other. It's about a team searching for direction, someone that fits, right? And we realized we don't have a definitive answer in that spot whatsoever. So, the bigger context here. Monty, Gannon, and Petzing inherited Murray. He wasn't their pick. He wasn't their contract. He wasn't their vision, not originally anyway. Kyler's been the Arizona starter since being selected number 1 overall in 2019. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year. He made 2 Pro Bowls, and he showed flashes of elite play, but it wasn't consistency whatsoever. After he suffered that knee injury, kind of the wheels fell off the wagon, right? He seems afraid to get hit, seems afraid to run, all kinds of different things. He just seems like not himself whatsoever, not the guy we used to know. Under the current regime, Murray went 13-17 and 30 starts. Now, after 3 years of that, of Kyler with Monty, the organization is being honest about where it stands. Quote, we have to look long and hard at this season and what happened. Things didn't work out, end quote. That's letting him know, like, hey, man, more than likely it's over, right? So now we're going to begin our head coaching search without a stated timeline. The playoffs start this weekend, right? We hold number 3 overall pick in the draft, and that could define the next decade for the franchise. The next head coach may inherit Murray, or he may be giving authority to somebody new. That decision and how quickly it's made is going to be a big key factor for our 2026 season and moving forward. For years, this organization stood behind Kyler Murray firmly. Like, they stood on their feet. They were on business, right? And now they're standing still. They're not willing to commit to anything. And in the NFL, standing still at quarterback usually means change is coming. And change is coming, y'all, 100%, because football playoffs are here, and underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action. Playing on underdog is super easy. Just pick your favorite players, right? Just say, hey, are they going to go higher or lower on certain stats, like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get them right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. With the playoffs just days away and plenty of marquee matchups coming up, it's in your wheelhouse, baby, to win big with your entries on Underdog Fantasy. What games are coming up? Texans at Steelers. Man, I did not see that Ravens losing like that. That was embarrassing. But Texans at Steelers, Rams at Panthers, Packers at Bears is going to be big time. Bills and Jags, huge passing the torch possibilities here between the Bills' constant window being open and the Jags' window opening up. Niners at Eagles is going to be a classic. Chargers at Patriots, of course. This week on Underdog, I'm looking at Bears Packers, people. Wild card round in the NFL playoffs, and I'm taking Mr. Caleb Williams, finger polish and all, make it pink, my boy, to go higher than 212.5 yards, 212.5 yards passing against a tough Packer secondary who's been tough on quarterbacks, but one that makes mistakes, and when they do, those are costly. Plus, hey, Caleb wants his playoff coming out party here. And also, I'm also taking Puka Nacua to go higher than that 0.5 touchdowns they have for him against the Panthers. Half a touchdown? Come on, you got to take that higher, 100%. If you saw Puka did against us, that dude is primed to become a superstar this season, this playoff run, or this playoff season with a strong playoff run. So, what are you waiting for? Get that app, baby. Use the promo code FootballFan, all one word, to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FootballFan, all one word. Underdog. Make picks, win money. All right, folks. So, now where are we at? What are we looking at here? What is this? When we fired Jonathan Gannon, it wasn't a reaction to just a bad signal. It's a bad season. It's a signal. I mean, the bat signal's in the sky, people. And this signal is this. Firing Gannon tells me that the Cardinals are going to position themselves, or are positioning themselves, to draft a quarterback in the 2026 NFL draft. Let me explain why. Head coach firings don't happen in a vacuum, especially not when a general manager is retained. We chose to keep Monty Ossenfort while moving on from Jonathan Gannon. And that distinction is incredibly important, and it matters more than most people realize, because when a team keeps the GM but fires the head coach, it's telling you one thing. The roster plan isn't finished, but the timeline is absolutely changing. And in the NFL, changing the timeline almost always means changing the quarterback, right? Gannon wasn't fired after 1 season. He wasn't fired after 2. He was fired after 3 with a 15-36 record, no playoff appearances, and no real vision or upward trajectory whatsoever. That alone is damning. Because if the Cardinals believed that they already had their franchise quarterback fully identified and locked in, they would have prioritized that, right? They would have said it with their full chest. Instead, we're looking at a reset here. Teams are confident. Teams that are confident in their quarterback don't blow up the head coaching spot unless something is fundamentally broken. And in Arizona's case, the biggest unresolved variable is Kyler Murray. This wasn't Gannon's quarterback. Let's be honest about something that doesn't get said enough. Kyler Murray was not drafted by Bonnie Ossenfort. He was not extended by Jonathan Gannon. He was inherited from the Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury days. That is important because Murray went 13-17 under Gannon, Monty, and Petzing. He played just 5 games in 2025, then disappeared into injury reserve under circumstances that, at best, raised eyebrows league-wide. If we were fully committed to Murray as the future, Gannon's firing would have been accompanied with a clear statement of quarterback support. Instead, we got silence, right? No real answers, no clarity whatsoever. This whole all options on the table thing that's not backing your quarterback. That's letting him know, hey man, you might be gone, right? Here's the exit. The draft position makes the decision possible, right? Because here's the practical side of this. We hold a top 3 pick in next year's draft. You don't fire a head coach and walk into a premium quarterback draft slot unless you're at least open to taking one. That would be organizational malpractice. Had the Cardinals finished 7-10 or 8-9, this conversation is different. But at 3-14 with a top 3 pick and no locked-in head coach, the cleanest reset is available, right? It's there because we got a new coach. You go new quarterback, same GM, NFL reboot, like classic, right? The next coach is going to want his guy. This may be the biggest tell of all. Arizona is not hiring a head coach to maximize Kyler Murray. They said that out loud. They're hiring the best coach, not the best fit for Kyler. The best coach and the best fit for this team. That tells you that the decision at QB is absolutely not decided yet. So, top coaching candidates don't want ambiguity at the most important position unless they're being promised control. And the easiest way to sell this job, it's simple. Hey, Kevin or Brian or whoever. You'll have a top 3 pick. You want your quarterback? You can get him. You can't make that promise if you're fully committed to Kyler Murray long term. Financial reality is lining up too because Murray's contract adds even more pressure. If he's on the roster in March, obviously he gets that significant guarantee kicks in. That's like 19.5 or 18.5 million. And we're staring at a financial decision that can't be delayed much longer. Firing Gannon before that deadline allows us to hire a new coach, align philosophically, and decide together whether Murray stays or goes. Because that timeline, it lines up perfectly with preparing for a quarterback draft decision. Gannon wasn't fired because he lost the games, right? We just don't want to waste another year finding out who we are. We want to find that clarity, alignment, the direction, a clear upward trajectory, a direction, a vision for this team. In the modern NFL, the fastest way to get all that is to draft, or to get all 3, is to draft a quarterback with a new head coach attached to him. That doesn't guarantee that we're going to take a quarterback. I don't want to take a quarterback even now. But make no mistake, firing Gannon makes that path it makes it likely, very likely, right? We didn't just end an era. We opened the door to the next one, and it almost certainly starts under center. And we got to think about that, people, because what are we going to do? Again, I want to draft a tackle, right? Either Fano or Maigoa. I mean, outside of, Mendoza being a world beater out of nowhere, Fernando Mendoza, maybe Dante Moore. Dante Moore's getting a lot of eyes right now. A lot of people are saying Dante Moore's, the guy with a better upside than Mendoza. A lot of people are saying Mendoza's pro ready now. Moore has more upside and will be a better pro later. Who knows? I'm not a scout. I'm not a GM. I can't even tell you. I want to choose. I want to choose either guy personally. I would take Maigoa. But in this football world and everything, stuff happens all the time. And we have to wait and see what this team decides to do. It's a fresh day. I feel good. Like, I feel pretty good about next season for some reason, right? Maybe because we're cutting off the gangrene, or we're cutting off the you have a busted foot. It's not gonna work every day. You gotta amputate it, right? You chopped it, right? That might be the best analogy, but I think you understand. I think you understand why you feel good today about this. Or at least I do. So, folks, let's hope for the best here, all right? That's going to do it for this episode of Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. Don't forget to hit that sub, hit the bell, hit the like, leave a comment. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. Bird Gang, I rock with y'all till the wheels fall out, baby. It's a new day. Get excited, people. All right, offseason starts now. Time to get ready for that draft and some free agent signings. And let's see who we get a head coach. All right, folks.